They laugh. They doubt. They look at you and see nothing to fear. Good. Let them. Because the greatest weapon a man can have is invisibility. Not the kind that disappears into weakness, but the kind that cloaks intent in silence. They don't know your mind. They don't see the fire you've buried beneath stillness. They mistake your calm for comfort, your restraint for lack of ability. And in that mistake, you win, not through force, not through spectacle, but through timing, through patience, through the ancient strategy of being underestimated. History doesn't celebrate the loudest men. It remembers the ones no one saw coming. The quiet strategist, the smiling tactician, the silent storm. Because when they think you are nothing, you have everything. Freedom, space, control of the board without their attention. You're not just playing the game, you're playing them. You don't need to prove anything. You've learned the subtle art of walking into a room and drawing no attention, of being the quietest voice, but the sharpest presence. You don't react, you observe. Every move they make is a gift. Every assumption they build around you is a wall they don't know they're trapped inside. While they talk, you listen. While they posture, you position. While they burn themselves for attention, you prepare your strike. This is not cowardice. This is warfare. Sun Tzu said, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." They see weakness in humility. They see threat in loudness. You give them none of that. You give them exactly what they want to see: a harmless figure, a friendly smile, no sharp edges until it's too late. Underestimation is not a curse. It's a camouflage. It's a deliberate mask worn by those who know that power doesn't need to announce itself. Power waits, and when it finally moves, it moves without warning, without hesitation, without mercy. They call it luck. They say you came out of nowhere. They say they never saw it coming. Exactly. That's the art. You weren't hiding. You were watching. They were too busy showing off their strength to realize they were surrounded by yours. The world rewards noise, but noise burns fast. You are a slow burn, a quiet rise, an invisible force moving just beneath the surface until one day you shift everything. Let them have the spotlight. Let them bask in premature applause. Let them think you are beneath them. It's not your job to correct their delusion. It's your job to use it. Every time they overlook you, you gain ground. Every time they ignore you, you gain leverage. Until the day comes when they reach for the crown and realize it's no longer there, because you took it. Not in chaos, not in violence, but in silence. But in silence. Soft pause. The storm quiets. So don't rush. Don't speak to be heard. Don't perform for recognition. Become a master of stillness, a student of subtlety, an architect of the unseen. Make your life so quiet, so deep, so calculated, that when you finally rise, the world won't know how to stop you. Not because you're loud, but because you've already won before they even knew a game was being played. They want to be seen. Let them. Let them scream their victories into the wind. Let them chase trophies and applause. You are not here for validation. You are here for results. That is the soul of the underestimated man. He doesn't rise to be admired. He rises to win. And the more they overlook you, the more control you have. Because when no one sees you as a threat, no one guards against you. No one prepares for you. No one notices how close you've come until you're already past them. This is not about deceit. It's about restraint. You know your power. You just don't flaunt it. Why would a lion roar before the hunt? In every room you enter, you are calculating, not desperate to be heard, not eager to impress, just quiet, still dangerous. Because the loudest man in the room is often the one trying to convince himself. The real threat is the one who speaks little, but whose presence shifts the air. That's who you're becoming. Every time you keep your thoughts to yourself, you gain power. Every time you delay your reaction, you buy time. Every time you stay overlooked, you sharpen your blade in the shadows. Remember, this power moves best when it moves in silence. The most lethal chess players don't shout their strategy. They sacrifice a pawn, watch your reaction, and make you think you're in control. You think they've made a mistake, and by the time you realize they haven't, you're already checkmated. That's the art. That's the game. Let them believe you're 2 steps behind when you're already 6 ahead. Machiavelli understood it. He wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. The man who needs a crown to feel powerful is already weak, but the man who walks as if he needs no crown, that man terrifies rulers." Why? Because they don't know where his limits are, because he has no leash, because if he is not driven by praise or position, then he cannot be bribed, manipulated, or controlled. He answers only to one thing, his own code. That is the deepest form of strength. To become that man, you must train in silence. You must build your skills in the dark, where no one claps, no one congratulates, and no one believes in you. Perfect. Because belief is not a prerequisite, results are. Every hour you spend in discipline, they waste in performance. Every minute you master a detail, they scroll for attention. They laugh now. Let them. They think silence means absence, that lack of noise means lack of threat. They've never seen what it looks like when silence turns to motion. When the quiet one moves, everything changes. You're not chasing fast wins, you're becoming inevitable. This is how nations are built, how kings rise, not with noise but with patience. That's what they never teach you, because patience is the weapon of those who know that real success is not earned by being liked. It's earned by being undeniable, and that takes time. Time no one is willing to wait, except you, because while others burn out chasing approval, you are building an empire that cannot be seen until it's too late to stop. And what do you do when they finally notice? Nothing. You do not change your tone. You do not celebrate. You do not shout, because you were always certain. You didn't need them to see you. You just needed time. Now the room is quiet, and the spotlight that once ignored you is chasing you. But you don't slow down. You don't step into it. You let it follow you as you walk forward, unbothered, unchanged, because you know something they don't. There is no need to prove power when it is already felt. Think about the river. It doesn't argue with the rock. It doesn't fight for space. It flows quietly, patiently, but over time it carves canyons. This is the way. Let them be stone. You will be the water. And by the time they understand what you are, you've already shaped the world around them. Being underestimated isn't just a strategy, it's an art. It's a practice. It's a discipline. Because there will be moments you will want to scream, to show them, to demand your place. Don't. That urge, that's weakness. The master of this art allows himself to be doubted. He doesn't fear it. He feeds on it. It becomes his camouflage, his breathing room, his sanctuary. While they watch the others he builds, while they bet against him, he sharpens his mind. And while they think he is beneath them, he is already designing their replacement. By the time they finally turn their eyes to you, they won't see a competitor. They'll see a threat, not because of what you said, but because of what you built in silence. That's the paradox of real power. It doesn't declare itself, it reveals itself, too late. Final arc, the cold smile of mastery. Eventually the moment comes, the day you walk in and they fall silent, because they remember when you were invisible, and now they can't look away, not because you're louder, but because the room knows the game has changed. You speak less, they listen more. You move less, they react faster. You don't need to win with force anymore. You win with presence. That's the reward of being underestimated. You rise without resistance. You win without threat. You conquer without needing to announce a war. So stay silent, stay sharp, stay underestimated. And when they finally ask, "Where did you come from?" smile and say nothing, because by then, your silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. This is the art of being underestimated, to become invisible until you're undeniable. They say nothing is more dangerous than the man who has nothing to lose. But there's something even more powerful. The man who has everything to gain, and no one watching him. You are not burdened by expectations. You are not slowed down by attention. There is no pressure to perform, to please, to impress. You're free to operate without noise, without scrutiny, without resistance. Let others wear the crown early. Let them be celebrated too soon, because every crown that comes too quickly eventually becomes a curse. They are seen, they are targeted, they are watched. But you're invisible. The power of being underestimated isn't just that they don't see you as a threat, it's that they don't see you at all. And in that invisibility you become dangerous, because you are the storm they never predicted, the checkmate they never saw coming, the ending they didn't write into the script. You walk into the room, and they think they know who you are, a nobody, a quiet man, a background character, perfect. Because when you strike, it won't just surprise them, it will redefine the way they view you forever. You don't rise by shouting, you rise by calculating, by making moves so small they seem meaningless, until they become irreversible. And when they realize what's happening, it's already too late. The ladder has shifted, the roles reversed. The quiet one is no longer behind, he's ahead. He's in control, not because he took it by force, but because he never needed permission. You don't ask to be seen. You don't ask to be respected. You earn it in silence. The applause will come, but by then you won't need it, because by then you'll know you didn't win because they believed in you. You won because they didn't. And when the world underestimates you, you're not weaker, you're freer. You don't have to waste energy defending your vision. You don't need to argue your worth. You just work. While they laugh, you sharpen your sword. While they boast, you build your foundation. While they sleep, you plant roots so deep, no storm can touch you. And when you rise, you won't rise like a firework, loud and brief. You'll rise like the tide, unstoppable, quiet and permanent. They'll look up one day and realize the man they ignored is now the one setting the standard. The one they looked past is now the one they answer to, because you didn't follow the noise, you followed the truth that silence is strength, that invisibility is strategy, that being underestimated is the greatest advantage a man can have in a world addicted to noise. This is not about pretending to be less, this is about becoming more in silence, in patience, in discipline. The world watches the loud ones. Let them burn fast. Let them climb quickly and fall just as hard. You are not in the race. You are underground, building, preparing, evolving. Because when you emerge, you won't need to convince them. You'll be undeniable, not because you shouted, but because you became. There is no greater revenge than excellence achieved in silence, no greater dominance than walking past the doubters with nothing to prove and everything to show. You walk alone, but not empty. You are filled with vision, with control, with hunger sharpened by years of being unseen. And the beautiful part, you don't hate them for doubting you. You thank them because their doubt gave you space, their disbelief gave you time. Their indifference gave you peace. You didn't just survive their underestimation. You used it. You turned it into fuel. You turned it into fire. And now you burn with quiet certainty, not the kind that needs an audience, but the kind that builds empires. So the next time they look past you, smile, let them. Their vision is too small to see what's coming, because by the time they finally see you, it will be from below, and you'll say nothing. Because true power speaks once and never repeats itself.